Zut alors! Tomas is laughing for a different reason right now. I'm laughing because this pay-per-view took place in France, and this is the best French accent I can come up with. First ever premium live event in the country of France, Lyon de Seine. But yeah, no, Tomas, do you want to
get it out of the way right now?
Fucking
WrestleMania, come on my way. Come on my way. WrestleMania, I told you. It was announced right after this pay-per-view. The destination, the location for WrestleMania 41 has been announced. It will not be Minnesota. It will be in our neck of the woods again for Las Vegas. And by we mean our neck of the woods, we mean an 8-hour drive. But that is close enough for us. We literally made the trip, a 7-hour drive to LA for WrestleMania. Cannot believe what?
It's only a 6.5-hour drive for me. It's only six and a half. Yeah, no, but, yours is probably longer.
To make the trip, we are excited that we will be in WrestleMania next year. We've been anticipating this. We cannot believe our third WrestleMania in like 10 years, which is freaking amazing. Just had to get my excitement for that out of the way. Obviously, we have a lot of time. The wrestling world will evolve, including with this pay-per-view, like we talked about. The first time WWE has brought a premium live event or a pay-per-view to France. This was, coming off of WrestleMania, I feel like this pay-per-view was kind of in the back of our minds. We weren't really, I don't want to say expecting much, but we just came off a huge WrestleMania. It was a really just a big, if Triple H had the big red button that said reset on it, he smashed the hell out of it. We have almost brand new champions across the board, out of their control or not. It's been quite the month of WWE reestablishing themselves. And if history is shown with Clash of the Castle in Wales, with Backlash last year in Puerto Rico, and the slew of other international pay-per-views coming up this year, Triple H is really picking the market for these international shows. And he said it in the press conference, the way he determines this is how much they want it. He is on social media often. He listens to the fans. If the fans are clamoring enough for a certain venue to get a pay-per-view, he is definitely going to look into that. And he already has some other ideas on the horizon, but I would have thought France would be as hot as they were for this show tonight.
No, France they brought it, man. And I don't know how they kept up their energy, not just through SmackDown last night, but through this show. From opening bell of the first contest all the way up through the main event, these people were so alive. I have never seen the hard cam shake as much as it did, just because of how much noise they were making, like 100 decibels. Like, it was nuts, absolutely nuts. Michael Cole said that he's never heard or felt anything like this atmosphere. Like, if they want to do a pay-per-view in France every year, more power to them, man. More power to them.
Said the same thing about Puerto Rico last year, and I just feel like every time an international crowd brings it, the next crowd brings it even more. Triple H also said in the press conference, he reminded me of Bash in Berlin. I hope Germany brings it, because I don't think I've ever seen a wrestling show in Germany, period.
No.
We have Money in the Bank that's going to be in the UK this summer.
Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is in Toronto, is what you're thinking of.
Toronto? Oh,
it's Toronto, yeah. You're thinking of Clash at the Castle.
Clash of the Castle is going to be in Glasgow.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of international
the Scottish fans are going to bring it, because British wrestling fans are just nuts. German fans, I don't know what to expect. I know they gave Gunther a big pop in Vienna on this recent tour, but I understand. It's Austria, not Germany, where they were, but bear with me here.
But France, you still got a hero's welcome. France was very good. They brought it. They really brought it tonight.
And I didn't.
For us.
Yeah, I didn't. It's a great time. 10 a.m. Pacific time for us to watch this pay-per-view, which is, it's a nice time, bright and early. I had my coffee, but I didn't even necessarily think of France as like a big location for a pay-per-view until it was recently announced. The only historical reference I can think of in regards to France, Andre the Giant. That's the easiest one. Andre the Giant was from Grenoble. So I'm sure he was looking down on this show, and he was beaming with pride that his homeland got a big show like this. And I'm sure he was very proud of his countrymen.
I think France brought it more than Perth, if we're going to be comparing markets here and there. France was very good, very hot. This was a very solid show. I don't want to say, it's really hard with these international shows. You really need to separate the energy from the actual quality of the matches. Because if you're just going based off of energy alone, then you can say every match on the show was 5 stars. But I have to separate
No.
myself from that and remind myself the crowd is very hot for these matches. These matches were very good. I don't think there was a weak match on the card per se, but you have to separate the energy from the actual quality of the matches. So,
do you want me to bury the lead? Do you want me to bury the lead? I liked this Backlash more than last year. Just because, last year's Backlash, I don't know if you remember, 7-match card, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in the headliner, not for the title, and I was very vocal about it not making sense that wasn't for the championship. But I mean, this show, only 5 matches, didn't really feel any fluff here. The weakest match on this card was 3.25 stars. And that was, that's a very, it's a very solid 3.25 stars. So I would still call it a really good match.
If I were to be a little selfish, I would have liked one more match just to give me a little more.
Let me guess. Put the French speaker Sami Zayn on this card. Let me guess.
Not even that. It's just that. I get it. Triple H's mindset has really been focused on the big 4, and then the other shows make him feel more like an in your house. And a 5-match card does remind me of it in your house. It just one more match would have been nice, but I'm not here complaining about this. I thought, just a little more. And I feel like it does feel like an in your house because these pay-per-views are clocking no longer than 3 hours. I think they really have the quality control really slimmed down because when the WWE Network first came in 2014, and we had WrestleMania 31, for example, matches had to be cut because they had that hard 4-hour cutoff. And I always complained that we have the network now. It's a year old. You should have the freedom to go over a little on these time limits. And then they went completely overboard, like in 2017 and 2018, when we had like a 5-hour Money in the Bank, a 4.5-hour Extreme Rules.
32 match cards.
Yeah, it was like, okay, you need to find a happy medium. And I think they finally found that happy medium. I did not catch SmackDown last night, but apparently they're also being smart by making SmackDown the same location as the pay-per-view, to cut down, having to tape the shows, making it easier on the talent. But I heard SmackDown was really hot. It was just a precursor for what they were going to bring to Backlash, and this was great. We have a bit of storylines we need to catch up on because they didn't
we do.
After WrestleMania. We have a new batch of storylines, some continuing storylines, and this is a huge one coming up right here.
Big one.
Off the night with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton taking on Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga.
Fuck yeah!
A new bloodline is here. Let's get into this. The SmackDown after WrestleMania. Paul Heyman was basically addressing the troops after Roman Reigns had fallen. The Tribal Chief had lost the WWE Championship, and Heyman is saying, no excuses. We lost, the bloodline lost, Jimmy lost, Reigns lost the title. There's no excuses. But Solo Sikoa takes that a bit too far and says, you're right. No excuses. There are consequences when it comes to winning and losing. So now that Reigns is kind of off the grid, Sikoa has kind of established himself as the new tribal chief. They immediately kick Jimmy out of the group when they bring in Tama Tonga, the MFT, the guy who has been running, crazy in New Japan for the past 10 years, has come to WWE. He has immediately joined the bloodline. They take out Jimmy Uso, and now basically Sikoa is like, this is the bloodline under new management. Paul Heyman tries to call Roman Reigns on his cell phone. Sikoa immediately snatches the phone down and says, I'm the captain now. So Sikoa has kind of gone mad with power. The next week on SmackDown, Sikoa is kind of bringing the new force of the bloodline, and they want to know where Kevin Owens is, an old foe of the bloodline. They T-bone him in a parking lot. They drag him out to the ramp. Kevin Owens is bloodied. That was really shocking to see intentional blood brought back to WWE. And since Randy Orton is Kevin Owens' new buddy, he runs to his aid, and it just sets up this huge tag team match, this new bloodline of Sikoa and Tonga. Jimmy is nowhere to be seen after the beatdown for the bloodline to SmackDown after Mania. I do think he's dealing with an injury, but this was a perfect time to write Jimmy off of TV. And here we are now. That basically sums up this. I really like it's a continuation of the bloodline storyline, but now we're getting brand new elements into it, and it doesn't feel so stalling as it did last year.
It doesn't. It
breathe
does.
new life.
It does not feel like it's jumped the shark. And I said on many of the podcasts last year where Roman Reigns was defending the title, I was consistently asking the question, has the Bloodline storyline jumped the shark? Have we gone too far? Apparently we haven't yet, because Tonga was introduced, and we still have, spoiler alert, a bunch more Bloodline people probably still to come. Like, you saw how big that family tree was that The Rock presented at that WrestleMania press conference, ironically in Las Vegas once again. So, this match, honestly, yeah, so Tonga makes his debut, and I immediately knew who he was, like, as soon as Jimmy was attacked, as soon as I took one look at him. Multi-time IWGP World Tag Team Champion here, and he's being established as a firm main event hand. He's been a consistent mid-carder in his New Japan days, but here he is thrust into a main event storyline. Good for him. Good for him, man. Like, after...
You bring up a really good point there with Tonga immediately being thrust into this Bloodline storyline, which they take a lot of trust in him. Remember, even back with Solo Sikoa had to go through NXT, but Sikoa was on NXT for, 6 months? And now here he is.
Oh, no, longer than that.
Storyline, yeah.
Longer than that.
Less than a year for sure. He's immediately put into this main event role, and I think Sikoa is doing great. It's just that WWE they put a lot of trust in the Samoan dynasty. And you bring up a good point with more Bloodline members on the way, more that I wasn't even considering. There's only one on the horizon, and he didn't show up tonight. So it's really cool that you never know who's going to show up. We had Solo Sikoa showing up at Clash of the Castle. We had Tonga showing up the SmackDown after Mania, and now we have a new Bloodline member here. But before we get a little too ahead of ourselves, Kevin Owens makes his entrance, and he just soaks it in for like 5 minutes. He just stands on he stands on the entranceway. He just soaks it all in at the crowd. Absolutely gobbling up this entrance, which is absolutely amazing.
I should have put a stopwatch on Kevin Owens' entrance, because I'm almost certain that was the longest time he ever took to get to the ring. Like, I'm almost God certain, as God is my witness. But Randy Orton makes his entrance right after, and this crowd in France, and I'm telling all of you American fans, we need to freaking step it up if we want more freaking events coming our way, because this crowd knew every single lyric to Randy Orton's song, and they sang it crystal clear. They posed with Randy Orton while he was on the buckle. They've been waiting years to get a show like this, and they are so freaking energetic. Those two entrances of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton made this match immediately worth it. Like,
absolutely, but allow me to up the ante. So Tonga and Sikoa make their entrance, and Orton and Owens immediately attack them on the entranceway. They're brawling throughout the ring area. They start to go into the crowd. The referees and security came to break it up. That's when I started getting really nervous. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, in a Vince WWE, they would have thrown this match out, but this is Triple H's WWE.
It is.
Nick Aldis comes out, and they immediately start booing him because they think the match is just going to get thrown out. But Aldis said, you guys want to fight? You can fight. This is now going to be a street fight. And that's when I was like, it's on now. It is absolutely on. There's absolute bedlam this match was.
Crowd brawling. Like, this arena in France just turned into pure pandemonium, as if the fans already didn't make it pandemonium. These four guys, you had picture-in-picture. They're brawling everywhere. It looked like, in terms of formatting and presentation, it reminded me a lot of the main event tag team match from WrestleMania Saturday a month ago, where you had one pair fighting on one side of the arena, you had the other pair all the way over on the other end, and you could watch both of them. You could watch both of them at once, and I love that production element. The weapons don't really get fully introduced until, like, all the crowd brawling is done. Like, Kevin Owens took a full-on sprint across the arena to save Randy Orton from a spike. I mean, just really, really fun street fight here.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up, I know I poked a lot of fun of it during the WrestleMania review, and I still feel a little bit this way, not maybe as strongly. It is crazy that when Kevin Owens clicks with somebody, he clicks with them. And I feel like Owens has such a great way of having chemistry with his tag team partners. And I do think this team of Owens and Orton has molded well together. I think I like it more now because they have a common enemy. They have a common goal. It's not, oh, we both want the United States Championship, but only one of us can be the champion. We're going to be goofs and get, punked by Logan Paul. Now that they both have a common enemy in the bloodline, they can truly join forces here. And it also made me realize, if you really thought WrestleMania was the end of this Bloodline versus the Cody Vengers thing, no, it's clearly
No.
just getting started, because Owens and Orton are still brawling with the Bloodline. Cody is staying away from the Bloodline, even though he's on the same show as them now, which I think is smart. I do think they will circle back to that at some point, but we've had Cody versus the Bloodline for like 2 years now. Let's get a break from that. Let's have Cody defend against some new opponents. And then, we still have The Rock looming in the background. We have Solo Sikoa, Cody's going to defend against at one point. Let's get away from the Bloodline stuff. And, this was really fun. We had trash cans.
It was.
Trash cans, kendo sticks.
Do you remember
for the tables?
Do you remember the match at Payback last year where Owens and Sammy lost the tag titles to the Judgment Day?
Yes.
I was getting a lot of similar vibes from that match here, even though you had like a lot more like bodily physicality. Like there were a lot more high spots in the Judgment Day match, but this one, I mean, there were just flat out chops and Samoan spikes. Randy Orton tries to headbutt Solo, which if you're a wrestler, one lesson that you should learn from the get-go is you never try to headbutt a Samoan, because it never works. Undertaker seems to never learn that lesson after 10 years in the business. Cost him a Royal Rumble victory at one point, and Randy headbutts Solo, and he sells it as if Solo was the one headbutting him. I'm like, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Love that trope.
One of my favorite spots in the match was the table spots that happened like one after the other. I missed the first one, but I caught the replay of it. It was Kevin Owens delivering a bullfrog splash to Tonga through a table on the outside of the ring off of the apron. And then I want to say like a minute later, Solo Sikoa, Samoan drops Orton through a table in the ring. So they were like, there was great pacing in this match. There wasn't a lot of like, there's a spot and then they sell it and they go to another spot. Like, no, it was like, bam, bam, bam. These guys were all over the place.
Orton was selling his back as well and taking a lot of hellacious bumps onto it, which again, I love the attention to detail in these Randy Orton matches nowadays. A lot of the bumps that he's taking are right on the double fusion back surgery spot. So they're using that to their advantage. It's a gigantic bullseye on Orton's back, literally.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's literally Orton's Achilles heel is his back. But speaking of backs, before that spot, I love how Randy Orton took Tonga and he did the backdrop on the announce table spot, not only on the English announce table, but on the French announce table too. That is, again, I've made that joke before. Like, I love how one of Lashley's moves in his arsenal is ramming your fucking head into the steel post. I love how Randy Orton's move in his arsenal is backdropping you on the announce table.
Well, that was
you in your back. If I'm gonna have a shitty back, you are too.
Well, that was made famous in his feud with the Maharaja when he was throwing the Singh brothers around the ring, and like everybody was making memes and gifs out of it.
So I love that. That's just a permanent move in his arsenal now. I like to call it the fuck your back spot, because he just absolutely plants you on that announce table.
Well, hey, nothing you could say. If my back is fucked up, then yours is gonna be fucked up.
Yes.
RKO on the announce table.
Yes, the dog is dead.
No, the dog is not dead. The dog is not dead.
The dog is dead.
I really hope not. Randy Orton does RKO Solo on the English announce table right in front of Michael Cole and Corey Graves. The table does not break, which fucking ouch, by the way. Owens back in the ring with Tama, and they're going at it. It's Owen, like, okay, this is so stupid. Like, don't try this if you're a wrestler unless you're absolutely comfortable that you're going to land in the exact same spot. So Owen sets up 4 chairs right across from each other, and he brings Tama up to the top.
Oh, before you explain that spot, there's a point I wanted to bring up about this spot. I feel like the crowd energy was really lending out good opportunities for the wrestlers to improvise. So when Owens is setting up this chair bed, he would set up a chair and then he would hit Tonga with the chair. And the crowd was kind of like going along with that. So Owens is like, fuck it. For every chair I set up, I'm going to hit Tonga with the chair too. And I think Corey Graves said it the best during this. He goes, welcome to WWE, Tama Tonga. Like, they're not going to, sugarcoat anything. We're not going to ease them in. Like, you want to be in the WWE? Fuck you, Street Fight first night.
Holy cow, dude. Did you see the welts on this guy's back from the kendo stick shots?
Not saying Orton and Owens are stiff, but they're definitely going to rough you up.
He took a
roughed up. This was an initiation night for Tonga, and I loved it.
He took a beating, man. Even though Tonga's like, I don't want to say he's mid-40s. I don't know how old he is. Like, he doesn't look like he's in his 40s. But
Yeah,
I mean, then again, like
with...
these wrestlers don't age, is my point. So
No.
yeah, to your point, Owens brings Tama up to the top, and he does that twisting brainbuster through all 4 chairs, and it was such a cool visual. And the crowd was eating every single bit of this match up. And I believe this is the first pinfall attempt in this match, which is another little detail that I really loved. All these moves felt like they mattered. They didn't go for extraneous pinfalls.
Orton RKO'd Tonga first, and that was the first
That's right.
pinfall because Sikoa did pull Orton out of the ring. Because I remember that because I was like, damn, are they really going to pin Tama Tonga night 1? But they didn't.
There were a couple points.
This was the spot. This was the second attempt at a pinfall. Owens goes for the pin, and I'm like, damn, they're going to win. Somebody pulls Owens out of the ring, and the first thing I thought was, oh shit, this is Jacob Fatu. No, it's not. This is where the surprises start coming in. It's Tonga Lua, a.k.a. Tama Tonga's brother.
A.k.a.
These people are popping out of nowhere.
As Tomas texted me, he said, it's Camacho. And I'm like, no, it's not. It was somebody. Was that Jacob or was it?
I think it was Jacob. I was like,
no, it was Jacob. Oh, this freaking jerk. Yeah, no, hey, honestly, in our group chat, that stuff can get mixed up sometimes, so I don't know who's making what joke, so I apologize. Yes, Tama Tonga, Tonga Lua, I'm just getting mixed up now. Tama Tonga's brother, Tonga Lua, interferes, pulls Kevin Owens out of the ring, and the announcers immediately identify him, and I'm thinking, I wanted the Samoan werewolf there, but then again, there's so many fucking bloodline members. Like, you can have Jacob Fatu come in later. You know, like, it's honestly, like, I'm sure that they're going to have something great for the Samoan werewolf once he eventually does make his way into WWE. And trust me, as someone who has seen this guy work in the local indie scene, WWE ain't ready for this guy. If you thought Solo was like a little Umaga, I know Umaga has a son, Zilla, that's wrestling right now, and he's probably going to be a Bloodline member as well. Jacob Fatu does things that, man, he's just incredible. He's incredible is my point. But besides the point. I
also want to say, do I want a whole Samoan army in the Bloodline? No. I don't want this to get to, like, NWO levels.
Yes, you do.
Immortal levels. No, I don't want, like, 20 guys in this faction. But...
well,
I feel like we are going to get a couple more. I feel like we are going to get a nice rounded number. And I may be kind of contradicting myself when I say this, but do you think WWE has finally found its answer to the Bullet Club with the Bloodline?
You know, that's a good question. A lot of people, like Kurt Angle on his podcast, have already started comparing the Bloodline to the greatest stables ever, like your DX, like your NWO. Oddly enough, he didn't put the Bullet Club in that conversation, but...
I mean, it's ironic that we say that when we have Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles in WWE, who are all former Bullet Club leaders, along with like Gallows and Anderson.
Yep.
But I just noticed that because look at the Bloodline so far: Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, the Usos, Sikoa, Sami Zayn. Now we're getting Tama Tonga, Tonga Lua, Jacob Fatu is on the horizon. Like, this is quite the group and quite the lore behind it.
Don't forget Zilla Fatu, Umaga's actual son. And hey, who knows?
That showed up on Raw one time in 2019.
You could have Nia Jax join the Bloodline eventually. Like, they're like, I don't know what Tamina's doing right now, but
I would much rather Naomi turn heel and join the Bloodline.
I mean, that'd be cool, but it doesn't make sense because she's a better babyface, and Jimmy just turned back into a babyface by proxy, by being attacked by Tama on night 1. So
I've seen stranger things happen. But anywho, since Lua has interfered, that gives the Bloodline the opportunity to get the upper hand on Orton and Owens. They take out Owens, and I think, they spike Owens. Orton's out of the equation now. They spike Owens. Sikoa and Tonga get the pin. This was a great way to introduce both of these new Bloodline members, because I know throughout the few weeks, people are making jokes about Tama Tonga, kind of saying, who is this guy? What the hell is an MFT? So I feel like just getting him in was kind of...
I have a question. I have a question for you. What is an MFT? What do you think it stands for?
A motherfucking tree.
He is, like, if Chris Jericho thinks he's a fucking tree, watch out for Tama Tonga, boy.
Jericho versus Tonga, tree versus tree. Don't do that because now Jericho's going to want him in AEW so we can do that.
Arbor gimmicks. Yeah, perfect.
Anywho, I think, it's kind of like I alluded to earlier. When you live in an era where the NXT system is kind of, necessary to, put guys through like the breeding process, through like the grooming process of getting ready for WWE TV, it is very risky when you have a guy jump that whole process. You're immediately going to put him on TV. Not everybody's going to know who he is because not everybody's a New Japan mark. To quickly introduce them and get them used to the audience is really tough. But I think they did a great job with Tonga here just by showing him he's a tough bastard. By putting him in the ring with two veterans than Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And with his family member, Solo Sikoa, it's like, I've been here for a couple years. Don't worry if you get lost. I'm here with you. I think Tonga had 3 great guys in there to help him if he got lost. Not saying Tonga's a slouch whatsoever, but when you make the jump to a New Japan, straight to WWE television and straight to a WWE pay-per-view, it's not the same thing.
No way. So I think he more than held his own. Solo looked like a savage like he usually does. Owens and Orton were your fun baby faces that the crowd absolutely loved. And you have never heard so much deflation when a heel wins a match. Like, this crowd in France was very sad, but you know what? I was not sad because this is a 4.25-star street fight. I really enjoyed it. Like, it's honestly, if you compare this side by side with the Steel City street fight from Payback last year, I think it's going to depend on your taste, on what you like in your street fights. I personally enjoyed the Steel City street fight a little bit more just because there were more high spots in there. There was a lot more insanity. There was blood. I think this one was awesome, though.
I think I like this one more because I love the sheer physicality of it. I mean, I even failed to mention before the Samoan spike, Kevin Owens took a spinning solo through the chairs, which, ouch, like these guys were not taking it easy on each other.
Uranagi. Uranagi.
Spinning solo.
Cole called it a Uranagi.
Spinning solo. And I just think the sheer physicality of this match was just a lot more fun to watch. I mean, the Steel City Street Fight was great too. Maybe a little too gimmicky for my taste, but no, this was a very good match, and it was a perfect segue because I want to bring this up right away. This might be jumping ahead a little more. When Jey Uso is getting ready for his World Heavyweight Championship match, the Bloodline comes through.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I was thinking about that too, like, because they brought up Jimmy, how Jimmy got taken out. And Jey, he just beat his brother at WrestleMania. He's got to focus on his own island of relevancy right now. But what do you do when the Bloodline and Jey are in the same building? And I got my question answered right away when the Bloodline rolled through. I mean, Jey has a stare down with Solo Sikoa. He has a stare down with the Tonga brothers. And then he looks at Heyman. Heyman just shakes his head and keeps going.
That's a very important. That's a very important point that I fit. Like, we cannot move forward without addressing this. The wise man, WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman, is so against everything that Solo is doing. Even though he's not outright saying it, you can just tell with his facial expressions that he's not really into all this. Because Solo and the Tonga brothers on either side of him all throw up the acknowledge me. They all put up the ones, and Solo orders Paul Heyman to stand next to them and throw up the acknowledge me finger. Paul Heyman didn't want to do it, so Paul Heyman is acting like the Bloodline is this big, gigantic cult now. And what do you do when you're in a cult? You want to get the fuck out of there as soon as you can.
And I think my theory is Paul Heyman is still loyal to his tribal chief, and a lot of people have been asking the question, who really is the tribal chief? Is Roman Reigns really calling the shots? I think Paul Heyman thinks that Solo Sikoa has just like gone under siege and he's, going into business for himself. And since Roman Reigns isn't around, he's taking control. A lot of people were asking, is The Rock behind the scenes still pulling the strings? It's I feel like this has just breathed new life into the Bloodline storyline. And I'm, looking forward to seeing where it goes. And again, before anyone asks, I don't want to see Roman Reigns come back any sooner than SummerSlam. The longer he stays off TV, the better.
And the more we miss him. And the more white-hot of a babyface he's going to be. Because immediately, like, we didn't even mention this part, as Solo and Tama entered the ring, the crowd immediately starts chanting, "We want Roman." Well, sorry, France, you're not getting Roman just yet. Roman's got to take some more time.
Yeah, Again, no sooner than SummerSlam. Hell, if they want to push it a little further, I guess it just depends how much time Roman Reigns wants off. Because, he did want to take a lot of time off after Mania because, he held the title for 4 years. Let the
Yeah.
man, he can finally rest without having that, that anxiety of, I got to come back and defend my title.
Well, who can blame him? Who can blame him?
Yeah, I thought this was great. A lot of people said that, when Roman Reigns got pinned at WrestleMania, he was smiling because, he's passing towards Cody Rhodes. No, I saw that smile and I thought, like, in his mind, it's like, finally, I fucking need to drop this title. I wanted to drop this fucking thing for a year now.
Yeah, I wanted to drop this thing at 39, but anyway, still not dwelling on that. It was a perfect ending. So, anyway, 5-match card up next. It's triple threat rules for the women's title. Bayley defending against Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. So, how we got here is Bayley is cutting a promo on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. She says that she is grateful to have this title and she's ready to start giving back to the business, essentially, giving the upstarts some opportunities. And that prompts Tiffany Stratton to come out and say, you know what? I accept. Even though Bayley did not outright say that Tiffany Stratton was getting the shot. She was like,
well, Tiffany Stratton said that because it's Tiffy time.
Well, it's always Tiffy time, just like it's always
Tiffy.
Yeah, just like it's always Rusev Day, right?
Who the hell is Rusev?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh, no,
always...
maybe, okay, I'm going to humor you for a second. I guess I should say it the way she says it. It's Tiffy time.
Yes, it's always Tiffy time, absolutely. But Bayley basically says that Naomi is the one who's getting this opportunity because Bayley has wanted to feud with Naomi for a while. They're very friendly baby faces towards one another. Tiffany Stratton causes a no contest on the women's title match on SmackDown, and this prompts the triple threat rules here. So, there you go. That's your setup. Tiffany Stratton, again, was very over for an overseas audience, just like she was at the Chamber. Like, the crowd was constantly chanting Tiffy time. I would say her and... Yeah, go ahead.
Michael Cole dubs her as the fastest rising star in WWE currently, and how can he be wrong when she's been in the business 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And let me allow me to remind everybody that Tully Blanchard trained Tiffany Stratton, and when he took her to a WWE live event and asked her, "Do you want to do this?" she said, "Yeah," and he said, "No, you don't, because you don't have the drive, you don't have the passion." And you know what? I guarantee that got in her head, because apparently she was silent for the rest of the show. Look at her now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a little tough love.
You do need a little tough love, and honestly, this is going to be a huge statement, but I think give it about a couple years or so, Tiffany Stratton could be the most gifted in-ring female performer in North America, like, in a couple years. Like, give or take. Good. She's awesome. She's so great. One of the bright spots of the NXT 2.0 experiment from 2021.
If you could lump the good ones into like a 5-person group, I would say Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Tiffany Stratton, Cora Jade, and Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. There you go. There's your Mount Rushmore of NXT 2.0, basically. Yeah. No, Tiffany, I mean, she's going to get her moment in the sun, but Bayley just won this belt, so there was no way that they were going to take it off of her right away. And Naomi was just kind of the third person in here who was kind of the workhorse veteran. Bayley obviously
still very over. Like, all three of these girls were very over. And, I have a bone to pick with fans. To all of the fans before WrestleMania that were just like, Tiffany Stratton needs to be on WrestleMania. She needs to fight me. It's like, guys, I get it. You want her on the Mania card, but let Triple H cook. I know we are still very much instant gratification. If they're not on the Mania card right away, all buried. Tiffany Stratton has only been on the main roster for a hot minute. I would rather them
4 months.
Take their time. Yeah.
4 months.
Take your time with her. Have her get known. And by next year's Mania, she's probably going to be wrestling for the title. So that's my piece of advice to all the fans out there right now. We're in a new era and we're in a new booking style that we're not used to.
Right.
Be patient. What did I just say in the Dynasty review? I would have loved to see them put off Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong a few more months. But now that we instantly got that gratification, yeah, we got a good match, but what the fuck does O'Reilly do now? If Tiffany Stratton wrestled for the title or wrestled Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, what would be next?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So
Yeah. So
let Triple H take his time with her because obviously he really fucking likes her. I mean, who doesn't like her? And she is one of his pet projects.
exactly. So Tiffany, I mean, she's still my pick to win the Money in the Bank briefcase this year because I think that would be perfect for her. I mean, she doesn't have to cash the briefcase in right away, but just imagine the promos that she's gonna cut, and imagine her actually coming out with a Barbie text Money in the Bank briefcase. Like,
I love it.
Good lord, it's gonna look like more of a toy than it ever has. But yes, so Bayley's such an over babyface, man. Like, it's so good to see her back in this babyface role. These three go in there and they start doing like the big pin attempts and the inside cradle sequences. This is where I notice the French crowd start doing a chant that I've never heard before. They count 2 and then they say "Sacre unde, sacre unde," and I'm like, holy 2 count? Is that just a French thing? Can someone educate me on that?
You know what? There may be something missed in translation there because when I was finally catching on, because again, this French crowd, they were consistent. They did this after every single 2 count.
Yes.
It was almost robotic. It was almost just like on command, on demand, like a flip of a switch. Like they did not get tired of chanting this. And after I put 2 and 2 together, are they saying like kick out at 2? Like
sacre is like sacred or holy. So I'm like, okay, holy 2 count.
Holy 2 count Batman? I don't know. This may be a French thing.
Yeah. Can someone, if anybody from France is watching this, can you let us know down in the comments what that means?
I don't know, man. The British crowd once put Big Cass's name into Hey Jude. Maybe it's an international thing that I just don't get.
Man, that didn't age well. No. We're gonna stop. We're gonna stop right there. Which one's Cash? So Tiffany Stratton does like the cartwheel handspring back elbow that I always love seeing out of her. Like this is a former U.S. Olympian gymnast. For crying out loud. Yeah. Of course she's going to be crazy athletic. Of course her moonsault is going to be the prettiest moonsault ever. Which she does not hit in this match, which I appreciated that attention to detail. Tiffany Stratton does not hit her finish.
Which I like, protect finishers. That's one thing I noticed from this pay-per-view. Protect finishers. They protected the fuck out of finishers on this show. But
they sure did.
That handspring you talked about, she did it on the outside, and for a split second I thought, is she going to put Naomi through the barricade? That would have been fucking sweet, but, it was still very impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, she does hit an Alabama slam on Naomi on the English announce table, which looked nasty. I don't want to take that spot. Bayley...
when she was setting up for that, I'm like, she's either going to shatter Bayley's spine on the edge of that announce table, or that table's going to obliterate.
She did the same thing to Bayley on the French announce table, then goes for the PME, the prettiest moonsault ever. Both ladies move, and Stratton lands fucking perfectly on her feet. And then Bayley and Naomi hit her with the 1D, the one and done. The double team maneuver. It's a handicap match now.
So Naomi's bloodline.
Yeah, so Stratton should have been pinned right there. Stratton should have been pinned right there because the 1D finishes all matches except for our Mania main event one year. Naomi, of course, familiar with that Jimmy Uso move. Bayley and Naomi face off. They do a nice little cradle sequence, and Bayley pulls a fast one on her friend. Yeah, what'd you think of this roll-up finish?
I'm not a fan of them. Not a fan of them.
What do you mean?
I don't know what to say, though. I mean, sure, call me a traditionalist. I would love to just, a rose plant for the win.
On Naomi, who just returned, and on Tiffany Stratton, who is on the rise?
Naomi, I feel like has been in the biz long enough that she can take a loss like that. I mean, she's in no position to win a title right now. I don't see an issue. Like, come on. Like, she's putting over her friend Bayley.
Yeah, but then she gets up after not selling Bayley's finishing maneuver and gives her the handshake and the hand raise after the match. I could have sworn Naomi was going to clothesline Bayley once that was going on, because she does shake Bayley's hand and she does hug her, plant a kiss on her cheek too. Might as well. She raises Bayley's hand. I was waiting for a Naomi heel turn, but it never happened. Never happened.
We're a little heel heavy on SmackDown right now. So I think we need to keep Naomi as the babyface. And, you know, as we'll talk later in the show, we're going to have 2 women from SmackDown kind of show jumping for now, which is okay. I mean, it's the one time I'm okay with it. But this was really fun. I'm going to give it a 3 3/4.
Same.
I thought the action was very consistent.
I'm going to match it.
Tiffany Stratton did a great job in this match. She really proved that she belongs here. She hung in there with 2 veterans. Bayley, I think, did a fantastic job being the fighting champion in this match. And Naomi did a really good job too. Again, the sequences were great. The flow was great. I thought all these ladies melded together really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is a night of first title defenses for a lot of people because we crowned a lot of new champions. Let me tell everyone right now, every championship changed hands except the women's tag team titles, the United States title, and the women's world title. But now Rhea Ripley's injured. So the new world women's champion is Becky Lynch. So, and as we'll get later on in the show, we do have new tag team champions. So Logan Paul is the only champion out of that whole ordeal that made it out. So we have a lot of new champions that have to go through the process of, their first title defense. Now that Bayley is over that hump, do you want to go directly into a Tiffany Stratton feud, or do you want to see Bayley like do something else first? Because we do have some new faces on SmackDown because of the draft. She could face, I think, a Chelsea Green match could be fun. A Piper Niven match could be fun. As much as you hate to admit it, Nia Jax is going to get in the fold whether you like it or not sooner or later. So do you think you have Bayley go through like those ladies first, and you save Tiffany Stratton for maybe a Royal Rumble, maybe even a WrestleMania, or do you just kind of throw her in there right now, have a one-on-one?
That's a good question. I'd rather just get the Nia Jax match done and out of the way so that Bayley can just beat her and move on. Because the sooner the Nia Jax match happens, the lesser chance she actually has of winning the title. And I don't think she should have the title. But
you're gonna hate me for saying this.
No.
I think that's gonna be our SummerSlam match.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, Bayley could be doing much better things with her SummerSlam, but yeah, all 3 ladies were fantastic in this thing. I also gave this 3 3/4 stars. Bayley's a great champion. Naomi is a very over babyface, and trust me, if you guys are just now starting to believe in Tiffany Stratton, I'm glad you're finally starting to come around. Okay, because Tiffany Stratton's a fucking star. I can't wait for her and Charlotte Flair to mix it up.
I don't think she really grew on me until she won the NXT Women's title. That's when I was like, she's good. She is really good.
Mm-hmm.
She honestly, she's climbing up there to being one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're a personal favorite of mine when you think, what kind of merch you got right now?
There you go.
Got any good shirts out there?
She got a Tiffy Time shirt. But up next,
really Tiffy Time.
Just like it's always Rusev Day. Yes, it's always Tiffy Time. So
Michael Cole asked Pat McAfee asked Michael Cole, what time is it? And Michael Cole went, it's Tiffy Time. And Pat said, it's 5 past the hour, you perv.
Let's go to the next match before.
Hey, Curly. Speaking of new champions, first defenses, and new challengers, you have main event Jey Uso challenging Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship.
We talked
about this at WrestleMania. Priest cashed in Money in the Bank, second man in history to cash in Money in the Bank on a fallen Drew McIntyre after CM Punk got the better of him. Priest wins the championship. He is representing the Judgment Day. All is well. You got 2 world champions in the same faction. Unfortunately, Rhea Ripley went down to an injury the night after Mania, where Liv Morgan attacked her backstage with a chair. So the Judgment Day is kind of starting to crumble at its foundation. Damian Priest has fully cemented himself as the leader of the Judgment Day. They have a fatal 4-way match on Raw to determine a number 1 contender. Jey Uso, Bronson Reed, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre.
It was a damn good 4-way. Good 4-way.
CM Punk shows up and costs McIntyre the match, which gives Jey Uso the opening. Jey is the new number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey and Priest have a great promo on Monday Night Raw where they're basically saying, look at us, like a couple years ago, we were just like at the bottom of the card. Now we're main eventing a PLE. Priest wants to give Jey kind of like a, I'm the champion now. Let's have a good and fair match. But Finn Balor and JD McDonough and kind of Dominic Mysterio, even though he's kind of on the shelf a little, they're getting involved doing their usual Judgment Day things, but Priest is kind of standing up for himself and saying, like, I didn't ask for your guys' help. Like, I need to handle this on my own. It's kind of Priest saying, I'm kind of outgrowing the gang mentality. I'm the world champion and I need to prove that I can defend this championship on my own. And I can't do that if, the walking Funko Pop head and Finn Balor are getting involved in all my business. So I do like the little underlying story they're telling right now. Like,
that's fucking mean.
Priest,
That's fucking mean.
I'm not the first one to say it. And Priest says it too in this match. It's kind of like Priest is like outgrowing the Judgment Day. It's like he wants to have his friends there, but he doesn't want them fighting his battles. So I think it's a really cool underlying story they're telling.
You bring up a great point. They are planting the seeds for what I've been wanting for a while, was the eventual Damian Priest babyface turn once the Judgment Day breaks up. And I hate to say it, but it feels like the Judgment Day breakup is coming sooner rather than later. Feels like it's on its last legs, especially with Rhea Ripley on the shelf. She can come back and be her own single star in her own right. I mean, again, that's what's so great about a faction sometimes, is you bring all these people together and then they're put into a better position on the card because they were a part of a faction for as long as they were, and an over faction like the Judgment Day has been. So Damian Priest basically saying that he wants to handle this. Yeah. And a faction that was once considered Vince McMahon's sloppy seconds. Remember when he wanted to make it supernatural with Edge as the leader?
Listen, 2 years ago at this event, this group was being, comprised of Edge, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest. And it was Edge's pet project to get these guys over on the card. And, the rest is history. You know what happens there. But the fact that this Judgment Day faction has survived as long as it has thrived, with the Dominic Mysterio stuff, with the Finn Balor turning on Edge and making himself the leader, to the R-Truth stuff, this
Adam
faction,
Copeland. Adam Copeland.
I wasn't going to say that just for you. So, again, I hate to see it end, but the last thing we want this thing to do is it be another year and be like, okay, I don't want to see Finn Balor back in the main event. Okay, Dominic Mysterio is more than ready at this point to be on his own.
Yeah, you don't want the Judgment Day to jump the shark either. So these two guys go in there. Jey Uso has one of the greatest entrances non-WrestleMania I've ever freaking seen. They play his music. He is up in the concourse area, and he is yeeting with all the French people that are out there. And this is something I never thought I would say. He is out in a sea of yeeting fireflies, because they have their phones out, and they put the fireflies on like this in a tribute to Bray Wyatt, and they're just yeeting like that, and it's crazy. It's a crazy visual. Like, I could have watched that entrance for hours. But you got to send the bisexual Undertaker out there eventually to defend his title.
Also, Jay came out through the crowd, which was so fucking cool.
He did, yeah.
It was, look at the video on Twitter if you didn't watch the show, and if you didn't watch the show, why not? They show this great shot of just the whole crowd with Jey Uso, and it is just like, wow, absolutely wow. Another point I wanted to bring up, you brought this up with the Bloodline, I'm going to bring up with Damian Priest too. The heels got booed heavily, but in the best way possible. This wasn't we hate Damian Priest, why is he the champion? He's the heel. We like Jey Uso, we're going to boo Damian Priest. It was the most genuine heel heat that all the heels got on this show.
Yes.
And it was very refreshing to see. It was refreshing, not just to say oh, I'm a good little Samaritan, you need to cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys. But it's if you're not cheering the good guys and you're not booing the bad guys, then are they not doing their job right?
Right. Yeah.
If Jey Uso is not being likable and not being, someone you want to root for, he's not doing his job. If Damian Priest isn't making you absolutely detest him, if you like him, it's kind of like a lot of people that say oh, I like those sickos. Maybe I shouldn't take it that far. Never mind. Let me tone it down a little. People out there that say they like the Joker. It's why do you like the Joker? He kidnaps people and holds them
bad guy.
Yeah. Why do you like? It's because he's cool. It's well, then either there's something wrong with you, or the bad guy's not doing a good enough job.
Right.
Think of all the Thanos sympathizers out there. It's okay, maybe Thanos wasn't evil enough because you're agreeing with him.
He's got sympathizers. I didn't know that. So, Damian Priest and Jey Uso go out there, and this is a Jey Uso contest. So, of course, the crowd is going to be chanting "Yeet" every single strike that Jey lands.
Did they?
They did. Yeah, every single strike Jey Uso hit in this match, there was a yeet not far behind. And first of all, I have a bone to pick with this French crowd because they were chanting "No yeet" at the Damian Priest strikes. Damian Priest is not Jey Uso, so that does not make sense.
Opposite of yeet. No yeet.
You can't use that for every wrestler that fights Jey Uso, though.
You know, call me a tool, but I want a pair of those sunglasses that have yeet on them.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, bring back the Tomas of 10 years ago, going to all the indie shows in your area.
I'm gonna be Yeet Junior.
Oh, good Lord. So yeah, these two had and here's my second thing. I have a bone to pick with everybody on the internet saying that these guys did not deserve to have a world title spot on a pay-per-view. These guys proved everybody wrong. I thought this match was excellent. I
think people are still conditioned to the Vince way of booking. And I know if I say that, a lot of people are like, oh, no, why would I know? Like, think about it this way. For years and years and years, for like 20 years, what are we used to? A champion losing his title, and then the former champion immediately getting a rematch of the next pay-per-view. I'm sure there was a lot of people out there saying, oh, this should have been Drew McIntyre's rematch. It's okay to immediately move on to a new opponent. I'm sure there were people out there saying like, oh, Roman Reigns is going to get his rematch tonight. I'm like, no, why would you tarnish the legacy of what that main event was just by running it back? Like, again, this is a new way of booking people aren't used to. And I like that both champions have brand new opponents here. And, you know, on the flip side, there were a lot of people saying like, oh, this is Jey Uso's night. And I'm like, unfortunately, it's not. If anything, I really hope this convinces Triple H we need to put a world title on this guy sooner rather than later. But, you know, Damian Priest just won this title. They made a really good point during his entrance where they said, Priest, you know, the second man in history to cash in Money in the Bank. This is his first real test. And I think you need to respect that too, even though it's coming from a heel perspective. You need to respect the strength of the heel as much as you respect the strength of the face. And I think Priest's momentum, it was just as important in this match as Jey Uso's was. Because if they immediately took the title off of Priest here, then what was the fucking point?
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna take it off of him at the Clash anyway when Drew wins it. But so they were definitely planting the seeds for that Damian Priest face turn because, to your point, JD McDonough and his gigantic head run down to ringside, starts to distract Jey Uso. He gets involved. Damian Priest is saying, "Take you and your giant head back to the locker room right now. I told you I got this." And then Jey Uso
said, "Move your big ass head."
I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know exactly what he said.
It was hella funny the way he said it. He was like, "What are you doing here? Move your big ass head.
Move your big ass head to the locker room. Go back to the clubhouse."
Jey goes for a super kick, but Priest moves out of the way, and he nails JD McDonough with a super
Well, I
kick,
mean, it's not like it's ironic that Jey missed his target because he hit a big enough target anyway. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're playing a carnival game and you're going for like a 1,000 point target, but you end up hitting the really easy 100 point target.
Yeah,
he hits JD's head.
Big ass head.
Yeah.
I know he's injured, but I would have loved to have seen Dom show up because he would have gotten booed.
Oh yeah. Great.
Probably out stealing baguettes or something. Stealing espresso.
Great counter out of the choke slam by Jey Uso, and he hits a big gigantic. I said it just for you, Tomas. He hits him with a spear. It's a great tribute to Roman Reigns. Out comes Finn Balor as Jey Uso is coming up top. Finn Balor and his
mark out for Priest hitting the spear.
Oh, yeah, no, Priest hit the spear. Yeah, no, but that's not Jey Uso's finisher, so I wasn't going to mark out as much.
Let me guess, you would have marked out if he hit him with the super kick, or...
Damian Priest, I actually loved his athleticism in this thing. He hit the Trouble in Paradise at one point. I was like, fuck yeah. Trouble in Paradise. No, he hit the
Enziguri.
Trouble in Paradise. Yeah, no, look,
He's not Kofi Kingston.
look at that move again and tell me that that's not the same move.
Enziguri.
So Jey super kicks Balor and his not so big head to the outside. Then Damian Priest nails the South of Heaven choke slam, and there's a nice near fall. Once again, Trouble in Paradise, and then Jey Uso comes back with the super kick in his own right. I mean, it's just back and forth. Jey Uso splash. You think he's gonna win the belt there, but JD puts Damian Priest's foot on the bottom rope, and the crowd is hounding JD and calling him an asshole. They're not calling him a fathead. They're calling him an asshole. Yeah, they should have chanted fathead at him. So Jey basically, he's fighting off both Judgment Day members, which allows Damian Priest to hit one more South of Heaven, and South of Heaven, super South of Heaven from the top turnbuckle, which was sick. That was enough to put Jey away.
So the super ultra mega hell with that move.
Correct. Yeah,
I love that too because it made Jey look really strong. Like he wasn't just gonna lose with one finisher. It was gonna take a super finisher.
It was gonna take a
full out. And super finishers are a thing if you play WWE 2K.
It's gonna take a super finisher to put Jey Uso out. This was a 15-minute match or so. Really, really, really great. I'm actually gonna go. You know what?
I'm gonna go 3.5, and that's a strong 3.5.
I'm gonna go.
I thought these two
3 3/4. 3 3/4.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought there was a little too much interference for my liking.
But the interference did play into the story because after Priest retains the title, McDonough and Balor immediately go for Jey, and Priest is like, whoa, hold on. Like, I didn't tell you to do that. And it's funny because he rips McDonough off, and then Balor goes beating him up. So he goes and rips Balor off, and McDonough's like, don't you guys get the point? Like, Priest doesn't want to do this. He wants to be a somewhat honorable champion. He's like, he can't keep his troops in order. Rhea Ripley's injured. Dominic Mysterio's injured. Balor and McDonough won't listen. So it's like the foundation of Judgment Day is starting to crumble. And, it may be a little sooner than later that Priest decides to kick these guys to the curb. And people have already been talking about what a great program Priest and Balor would be.
Give me Priest against Demon Balor. Like, that would be freaking dope, man.
Well, Priest would win because Demon King never wins.
The Demon King.
Demon
Kane. Demon Kane.
Demon Kane shows up and says, what the fuck do you want, Rollins?
Well, he's going to summon the Demon King. So, it was really good. I think these guys both proved that they belong in the main event scene on Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso proved why he is the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Love that. Priest... Man, this guy's going to be such an over babyface once that turn finally happens, and I'm so ready for it. So, with that said, you have more titles on the line, Tomas. For the women's tag team titles, the Kabuki Warriors of Damage Control defending against Bianca Belair and the undefeated Jade Cargill. I wonder who wins. She's undefeated. They're not going to beat Jade Cargill in a tag team match. It's going to be a much bigger deal, like, once Jade Cargill finally takes a loss here. I don't know if they're going to go, like, the Goldberg route that they did in AEW with her at 174-0 or whatever she was before Chris Statlander beat her. But yeah, point being, it's going to be a bigger deal than a tag team match for Jade Cargill to take a loss. So... Bianca and Asuka do start this match off. It's reminiscent of last year's Mania, and it's a great match in its own right. Jade Cargill and Kairi Sane.
That's racist. Bianca Belair fought Io Sky last year.
No, I was talking about Mania. I was talking about Mania. No! Last year's WrestleMania. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay.
Io Sky fought Bianca Belair last year.
Sir. Yeah, no, that was a good match. Yes. So I liked Asuka's face paint tonight too. She looked freaking badass. So Kairi Sane and Kairi Sane was the perfect person for Jade Cargill to throw around. I feel so bad saying that, but like the whole strength sequences that they had, especially towards the end into the Jaded, were so freaking dope. A lot of people I actually saw on Twitter say that Jade Cargill looked a little bit lost towards the end of the match. I don't know what match those people were watching.
I feel like I should make my point about this now. I thought Jade Cargill did really well in this match, and I think I'm not saying you need to
Right.
protect her per se, but the more experience you get with her with three veterans, I think they've even said it on commentary. What Jade Cargill lacks in experience, Bianca Belair picks up for because Bianca Belair has lots of experience. And I think Bianca Belair is the perfect person to pair Jade Cargill up because let me, recount the story I said at WrestleMania. Mark Henry revealed on a podcast in an interview with Solo Monster that Mark Henry likes to discover people that don't wrestle and he wants to train them to become wrestlers. It was the other way around. Jade Cargill actually went up to Mark Henry and said, I want to be a wrestler. And Henry was like, are you sure?
No, you
And
don't.
apparently Cargill said, like, yeah, I can do this, this, and this. Like, no, 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 no. Can you actually do this? Can you handle the mental stress that being a professional wrestler is? So I do think Jade Cargill needs, and I feel bad saying this, just like more training on the business as a whole. But pairing her up with such a great mentor like a Bianca Belair, who kind of came from the same background as a Jade Cargill. I think a lot of people don't know that Bianca Belair never wanted to be a pro wrestler in the first place, but she kind of fell in love with the business. So to get somebody with that kind of same background, I think is perfect for her. But near the end of the match, I thought Jade Cargill, she fit right in. She fit like a glove with these three ladies.
Totally. Well, and like to those people that think that Jade Cargill was overexposed, first of all, this is a tag match. If this were one-on-one, like Jade Cargill would have absolutely been overexposed. And I'll tell you this much, not to keep dwelling on this, but if Vince McMahon were booking this, Jade Cargill would have already been way overexposed out the wazoo. She would already have the Women's World Championship. It wouldn't even be the Women's World Championship. Jade Cargill would be parading around with that thing for about a year. Vince would be gloating in Tony Khan's face, and then she would lose to... I don't know. I don't even... It doesn't even matter.
Dare I even say, bold of you to assume that Vince would have signed Jade Cargill in the first place?
Oh, no, he would have. He would have.
He probably. Are you sure he wouldn't have been like, oh no, she's an AEW girl. I want someone that I built from the ground up, and like, I mean, I feel like it could go both ways.
Cody Rhodes was also a AEW guy before he came back, and Vince signed him.
To be fair, I hate to give the devil his due. That was more of a Bruce Pritchard call.
Yep.
Apparently, Bruce was the one who convinced Vince to reach out to Cody. But anywho, that is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I actually like this match. I know you said it may have been a little too long, but I liked that they actually gave the tag team titles some real focus on this show. I know the tag team titles have kind of been struggling since they were first made back in 2018?
2019, yeah, with that chamber match.
No, it was 2018 then. It was 2018. And I know the titles have been cursed. They've been random pairings here and there. And you could argue that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are a random pairing.
They are.
That's the Triple H for, he loves women's wrestling. He loves tag team wrestling. So the fact that he's still trying to salvage this, I think it's finally starting to pay off. Don't get me wrong. In my perfect world, you would have 6 or 7 very established women's tag teams on the roster. I still think they're kind of resorting a little more to still throwing together women that have nothing to do. And even though some of them are working, like Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, you could argue Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are starting to meld. You could argue that Natalya and Tegan Nox kind of have a thing going. But, less relying on that and more reliant on, come on, Triple H, you mean to tell me there's no great Japanese women's tag teams that you can't pluck from the indie scene right now? You can't, there's got to be some good women's tag teams out there, even though they're not well known. Come on, send your scout William Regal out there. He loves doing that shit.
There you go.
Regal, go find some women's tag teams.
Perfect.
Go. I don't want to see you for 6 weeks.
I don't want to see you back at work for 6 weeks.
Here's $5,000. Here's the free air travel. Go wherever the fuck you need to go. And give me some tag teams, damn it.
Give me some fucking tag teams. The match ends up with Bianca and Kairi as the legal women. Kairi hits the insane elbow on Bianca, which is always like the best flying elbow in the biz. Jade Cargill breaks up the pin. There's that amazing sequence where she hits the Jaded on Kairi, and then Bianca hits a kiss of death on Asuka. Asuka lands on top of Kairi, and the fucking referee botches the pinfall attempt. It's like, oh my god.
4 count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Phantom 4 count.
Say that? And if you don't know what it is, that's when the referee kind of fakes out the first 1 count and then he counts to 3, so it makes it feel like 4. But for this referee, he fakes out the 1 count, but he counts it as 1, 2, 3. So it kind of took the wind out of the sails of the finish a little, but that's a tiny nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I like this call. Belair and Cargill
Damn,
win.
this match went longer than the triple threat and Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Like
That's 2 minutes longer than the world title match.
I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. Like it felt to me like this match went a little bit long. Damian Priest and Jey Uso like breezed by. That's the difference. Like when you kind of feel like the length when you're watching a match, it's like, okay, we're getting close to the finish here. It's a little slow, but anyway, that's what I mean by going a little long.
Yeah, Cargill and Belair winning the titles, I think, is a great call for a couple of reasons. Not saying they're going to be, they're going to be the greatest women's tag team to ever live. Sure, they're going to be dominant for a while, but I think this is a great opportunity to keep them paired together to hold off the feud. You can, have them hold these titles for, I don't want to say 6 months, because that's quite a long time for women's tag team champions. 3 or 4 months.
Why not?
Break them up, or, making a good point. Maybe, I just feel like the field isn't big enough for them to be, because Belair and Cargill, those are women you want on TV every week. And, they can go to Raw now. They're going to be on SmackDown. They can go to NXT. Like, I just hope WWE can keep up with them. I know, remember, Naomi and Mercedes Moné immediately got scared off because they weren't being focused on as a tag team. And remember, the original plan was Naomi was going to go for 1 title, Mercedes Moné was going to go for the other title, and that really made them upset. So I just wonder now, how can they make this tag team title reign dominant, have it healthy, and keep it off long enough so when they do lose the titles, they can go into a program.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I'm kind of happy they're going with a tag title reign right now instead of just jumping right into Bianca versus Jade one-on-one. Because number one, yes, if that was the WrestleMania match, Jade would have been exposed. It would have been way too early for her. But number two, like, you do Bianca versus Jade at Mania 40, then what's next? What's next?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, there's nowhere else for it to go. So I'm expecting these two to hold it probably, I would say, until the Royal Rumble, and then they eliminate each other from the Royal Rumble, and then they they go into a Mania 41 program. That's what I'm expecting, at least. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Time will tell before Vegas. But before we get into the main event, by the way, 3.25 stars. This is the match I was referring to earlier. This is weakest match on the card for me, but it's still a very solid match for what it is, I think. But last thing before we get into the main event, next time the WWE comes your way on pay-per-view is the return of the King of the Ring pay-per-view, something that I have wanted for years and years and years. They're having a men's and a women's tournament this year, and they did announce the Raw side of the brackets here, so I'm assuming each tournament is going to have 16 competitors in each, 8 from each brand. On the Raw side, you have as follows, Tomas. Ivy Nile versus Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler versus Zelina Vega, who won the Queen's Crown tournament, Lyra Valkyria versus Asuka. That is going to be a killer match. And Io Sky versus Natalya. That will also be a killer match. On the men's side, Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor, Kofi Kingston versus Rey Mysterio, Ricochet versus call-up Ilya Dragunov. Like, you guys are not ready for how fast-paced that's going to be. And you want to talk about bangers? You're getting a Gunther versus Sheamus rematch from Clash at the Castle in the first round of King of the Ring. That is dope. Watch Sheamus pin Gunther round 1 and get his win back. Drew McIntyre is my pick. So
good to wins. Also, I'm so glad they're calling it Queen of the Ring and not the Queen's Crown. That was such a fucking Vince McMahon thing. And it makes me want to puke.
It does. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, very excited. And it looks like you said 16 competitors between men and women. This has to dominate, the majority of the TV time. Because that pay-per-view is at the end of the month. And I assume both finals, if not, semifinals. I know I hate this, but I wouldn't mind it if the King and Queen of the Ring were just like the tournament finals. I don't think you need to have Cody Rhodes defend the title on that show. Maybe you don't even have Damian Priest defend on the show. But, those are 2 very long tournaments that, unless you rush it, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing not half of the tournament, but maybe the last quarter of both tournaments. Like, and I know we've had that argument of deadly games. Like, was one night a 32-man tournament too much? Fuck yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was way too much for one night.
Mm-hmm.
But, half quarter of a tournament, it'd be nice if the whole pay-per-view was kind of revolved around that. With so many pay-per-views we have coming up, Bash at Berlin, King and Queen of the Ring, SummerSlam, maybe it is a good opportunity to be like, this pay-per-view is just going to be the tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that'd be cool if it were like Survivor Series 1998, the Deadly Game Tournament. That would be
not the
fucking
whole
dope.
fucking tournament at one
Yeah, roll the dice, play your cards. Yeah, imagine. Yeah. But anyway, main event time. This is the reason why I was tuning into this show right here.
Are you sure about that?
It is. Sure? It is.
Was it two guys that you have a huge boner for or something?
Oh, fuck you. Yeah, what is it?
Is this like the greatest match you ever could have imagined of all time showing up?
Is it the greatest wrestling match ever?
It is. Okay, I'm done busting his balls. For the Undisputed Championship, the brand new champion Cody Rhodes defends against the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Fuck yeah, he does.
2 triple threat matches on SmackDown. AJ Styles defeated Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio. LA Knight defeated Bobby Lashley and Santos Escobar. Styles defeated Knight, getting his win back from WrestleMania. And here we are. Cody Rhodes got the hero's welcome the night after WrestleMania. He finally finished the story. He won the championship. The fans are in love with him. Triple H is thanking him. They showed this great video package. And I know this has nothing to do with the feud, but let's bring it up now because it is the big elephant in the room. The Rock did come out to confront Cody Rhodes. And just when you thought, oh, maybe he's going to shake Cody's hand and just ride off to the sunset, no. He tells Cody, you won, but hold out your hand. The Rock put something in Cody's hand and said, you don't even need to open your hand to know what that is. I'm going to go away for a while, but when I do come back, whether you're the champion or not, I'm coming for you. And don't you ever break The Rock's heart again.
Wrong answers. Wrong answers only. What did The Rock put in Cody's hand?
In the comments.
Yeah, what did The Rock put in Cody's hand?
Very eerie, because the minute that promo concluded, I was like, we're not going to see The Rock for a while. Cody's going to go and do his own thing, but
Vegas, what? Yeah, sorry.
That's coming back. And I love this long game because I remember watching that promo and going, what the fuck did Rock give Cody? What did he give Cody? It's like, we're not going to find out, are we?
It's a lighter. We're not
going to find out.
It's a lighter. He set his bus on fire on the road to WrestleMania.
But the story around this title defense is Cody is saying this is a must-win situation for him. This is his first title defense. It's not a dream match. It's a must-win situation. AJ Styles is trying to prove that he still fucking has it because the past 2 years have not been too kind to AJ Styles. He had the very underwhelming feud with Edge. He wasn't really doing anything after that. He got injured. He came back looking really good. He got injured again. He was getting taken off pay-per-views. And it just
missed WrestleMania.
Yeah, the phenomenal one has just not had a really good past couple years. So he's being put in this main event championship match. And he needs to prove to everyone, like I said at this match, he needs to remind everyone just who the fuck he is.
And do you think he did that?
Absolutely, he did.
Good. This match fucking ruled. AJ Styles.
I know you're going to talk about the entrances.
Okay, I know everybody loves the OG CFO AJ Styles theme song. Say what you want about Def Rebel, yeah, fuck him. But Jesus Christ, this AJ song slaps. This new AJ song does slap. It really does. Yeah, Been Alone, Evil Ways. It's an Evil Ways rendition. That's what it is. Cody comes out. And these motherfuckers in the audience, these maniacs in France, sing every single word to Kingdom. Triple H cuts the music off, and before Samantha can even do the big match introductions, the crowd has to finish the lyrics. They know the lyrics to Kingdom. They have passed the quiz. So, the match starts, and this crowd is buzzing from the get-go because they know it's a dream match, and it lived up to the hype. This was my match of the night. I love this thing. It's honestly a match of the year candidate. And I know what you're thinking. How can you say it's a match of the year candidate when we all knew that AJ Styles did not have a snowball's chance in hell? Look at who's in the ring right now. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, two of the best on the planet.
I mean this with all the love in my heart, and with AJ Styles being top 5 wrestler in the modern era. I know that's a weird phrase to say, but you know how much I love AJ Styles. We had a whole love session for him on the Dynasty review. This is the best AJ Styles match we've had in a while.
Yes.
And this was, I don't know how to explain it. This was like hearkening to when he first came into WWE. You can say this is like his best work since the New Japan days. This was the fucking AJ Styles that made me jump out of my chair screaming when he debuted at the Royal Rumble. When people ask me, why do you like this guy so much? I'm like, just watch him wrestle and you'll see why.
Watch this match and you'll see why we like him.
I like this more than the Seth Rollins match last year. I like this more than the Drew McIntyre match he had with him.
Do you like it more than the Finn Balor match at Survivor Series?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, no, because that match was awesome.
It was this match where people started saying AJ Styles has kind of been the gatekeeper for new WWE champions. Because if you notice, a lot of new WWE champions that have won their titles at WrestleMania, he's their first opponent. So I feel like this was the ultimate test for Cody Rhodes. These two I've never faced before. A great nugget of trivia that I didn't even know going into this match. AJ Styles won the NWA title from Dusty Rhodes back in the day. I can't believe they waited until commentary to bring it up, but that's a great nugget of information. They flowed so well in this match. I call AJ Styles the human chess machine. And in other matches, it feels like a more slow and methodical pace. Not with this one. These guys were firing move after sequence.
Ushi-Goroshi
at each other. Ushi-Goroshis.
Where was Mauro Ranallo to call that?
A burning hammer. The phenomenal blitz. It was like all of their greatest hits from both.
What about the burning hammer?
Yeah, I brought up the burning hammer.
Yeah. Fucking awesome.
Cody Rhodes goes for a very scary spot like early on in the match. He tries a stalling superplex. And the first thing I thought was, that's impressive. I've never seen him do that before. That's a Claudio Castagnoli spot.
Yeah, I was getting Cesaro vibes.
That's a Bobby Lashley spot. But I guess I spoke too soon because Cody fell off the top rope. And thankfully, AJ Styles was able to kind of catch him on the way down. So it was just a flat back bump. Cody Rhodes, I have noticed this ever since you won the title. You are randomly drop kicking tables. You try to go for a collision spot with Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown, and you missed.
Oh, God.
And now you fucked up this stalling. I'm not saying fuck, I'm just saying the stalling suplex spot did not help. I get it. He's gung-ho to be champion. He wants to be a fighting champion. He wants to experiment with new moves, but that's how you get injured. And level Cody Rhodes is performing right now, he cannot afford to get injured. I hate to say this, but I think he needs to play it safe. He needs to play it safe until he can get more practice with moves like this, because that was a scary spot. The spot on SmackDown was scary. Hell, I even got scared when he drop kicked the table at that UK house show, because the last thing we need is for him to pull a Bryan Danielson and him to get injured before this title really gets off the ground.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I'm so glad and I'm thankful that Cody is not hurt and he's performing at such a high level, continuously trying to prove that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world while hanging with one of the undisputed best wrestlers in the world, no pun intended. To your point, AJ Styles hits a burning hammer. AJ kicks out of an Oz Cutter, which is very weird that Cody was hitting one of Will Ospreay's moves. He goes in there. I'm saying that as a Cody crybaby, too, as a joke, too. So, yeah, Cody Cutter, obviously. So, they go out there. Cody actually does hit a power bomb through the French announce table. I was getting a little concerned that this announce table was going to survive through the whole pay-per-view, but nope. Somebody takes a spot through it. It has to be this match. But for the most part, it was very wrestling heavy. It was very catch-as-catch-can. Not a lot of crowd brawling there. Which I really, really dug. It's an excellent, excellent match. These guys had phenomenal chemistry, if I may.
27 minutes. And, we talk about other matches. I feel like AJ Styles with his opponents, he basically goes in there and says, see if you can keep up with me. I think he did the same thing with LA Knight. It's a sprint. With AJ Styles, it's a sprint. And the fact that this 27-minute match was a sprint was crazy. This
Well,
man's cardio is like, his stamina is out of this world.
I wouldn't even call it a sprint because there was a very nice extended feeling out process towards the beginning where Cody actually does do a cartwheel, which I marked for, and he does do the Stardust thing in AJ's face, which AJ did call out during the promo battle on SmackDown last night.
Bring back
So
Stardust.
he was. No, we're not going to bring back Stardust. The crowd was chanting Stardust at Cody, but he was kind of laughing it off. But we're not bringing back Stardust. We're not doing that. That's a Vince McMahon move.
It's a shame.
And it's bullshit.
Shame.
No, these guys were being very physical with one another as well. Oh man, the electric chair drops, Styles counters into brain busters. This is just an excellent world championship match here.
The brainbuster on the ring apron. How about we not try to break Cody Rhodes' neck, please?
Yeah, let's not do that. The burning hammer only got a 1 count, and Cody was like fired up. He was telling him to bring it, which prompted that Cody cutter. AJ did hit the springboard 450, which like AJ's in his mid 40s and he can still do that move like he's 25 years old. That is just absolute, like, again, as the French crowd was singing throughout the entire match, phenomenal. And might I add to this environment, when AJ was introduced, if you guys are telling me that AJ Styles is not over in God's Year 2024, look at how the crowd reacts to him. Look at how this crowd reacted to him. This hard camera was shaking during his introduction.
I didn't catch SmackDown last night, but apparently Cody Rhodes did bring that up in his promo against him, saying, you're old and you don't have it anymore. So I like how they're acknowledging they're not breaking the fourth wall, but they're acknowledging past the fourth wall. Like, AJ Styles and WWE are very aware there's people out there saying he can't go anymore. They don't use him anymore. He's getting old. He needs to hang it up. Well, this match proved I don't want to see AJ Styles hanging up anytime soon.
No, me neither. I know he said he was thinking of wrapping things up sooner rather than later, and I'm gonna not ever take any AJ Styles match for granted ever again from this point, just because I don't know when his last one is gonna be. But Cody also locked in a Kimura lock in this match, which was an ode to Brock Lesnar. And Corey Graves was very careful to not say Brock Lesnar's name on the broadcast. All he said was, Cody knows firsthand how painful this submission hold is.
I immediately got flashbacks to the Backlash match of last year, and how great is it that Cody Rhodes is the champion now, defending his title at Backlash?
Thank fucking God. Yeah.
That was great. And like I mentioned before, they did a great job of protecting finishers in this match. Not one Styles clash was hit. Not one phenomenal forearm was hit, even though Styles did go for the clash and the phenomenal forearm a couple of times. Again, the submissions kind of caught me off guard. And then I don't want to say the finish was anticlimactic. I know AJ Styles went for the clash, and Cody Rhodes did end up countering it into one crossroads. He'd even go for the triple crossroads.
You're missing the top rope Cody cutter.
Oh, top rope Cody cutter. Yeah, that was great.
Oh,
I feel like
loved it.
That's when he kicked it into second gear. And yeah, Cody Rhodes is able to hit the crossroads, get the 3 count, and this was an excellent match. I'm curious to see what your rating for this is. I'm going to give this 4 3/4 stars.
I'm matching it.
This was okay.
I'm matching it.
Full 5.
No,
I mean, I don't know when I give a match 4 3/4 stars, I always ask myself, what do you think it needs to get the extra quarter up to that perfect rating? And throughout this match, I was about ready to make a lot of enemies and say, this may be WWE's answer to Danielson Ospreay.
Oh man! Well, the thing is with WWE, is that they don't give a fuck what AEW is doing, so they don't want to do anything to make people compare. Like, even though they're acknowledging other outside companies, they're still very much in their own bubble, and they don't give a rat's ass what the competition is doing. And they're not going to
saying that like that was the goal, but I just think this was so good that I was thinking of like, we just got that excellent Danielson Ospreay match, and now we have Cody and Styles that may be matching it. I don't want to say if it went a little longer because it was 27 minutes long. I don't want to say if there was a few more high spots because you know what? I didn't want to see Styles kick out of Crossroads. I didn't want to see Cody kick out of a Styles clash.
I think it was missing some of that drama, though. I feel like if you added some of those finisher kickouts, then yeah, it could have definitely gone up to 5 stars. And I also feel like this match is definitely, like, it wasn't really given much of an opportunity to be that match of the year because of the predictability that was involved. But you know what? With the story that they were telling, AJ Styles made you believe. And like, even though Cody just won this title, he just finished the story in the most emotional WrestleMania moment of all time, arguably. Like, they weren't going to take the title off of him this soon. But I think if Cody and AJ have another match, maybe even at King of the Ring, they have potential to top this. So we'll see. We shall see.
Is probably after now that Cody has gone over this, hump of his first title defense. I started wondering what's next for Cody. He is on SmackDown now. That does kind of have a smaller talent pool, so it is going to be, I don't want to say difficult, but it's going to be interesting to see who they go with next. There's always LA Knight. There's Bobby Lashley. There's some newcomers coming in. Now, you're not going to do Shinsuke Nakamura. We've done there. We've been there, done that.
We could. I mean, the most obvious
Randy Orton.
The most obvious match is Randy Orton, just because of the legacy ties. But
yeah,
I don't want to. Again, be patient with the Randy Orton match, everybody. Honestly, I would hold off on Cody versus Randy until WrestleMania. If the plan is Cody versus Rock at SummerSlam and not WrestleMania. Like, if they're going with the plan of Roman versus Rock in Vegas, then they're going to have to book around that. Cody and Rock is probably going to happen in Cleveland. Roman's probably going to make his big comeback. I mean, they could do another Cody-Roman match, but I don't know where you would do that. I really don't.
Exactly. So I was thinking of that. It's going to be very interesting to see where Cody goes because the rosters are locked now. We have brand new rosters for Raw and SmackDown. But the more interesting question is, what do you do with AJ Styles next? And I have a very interesting idea.
Put him in King of the Ring.
There's that. But also, I'm talking about like long term. You compare what he's doing right now to his Evil Ways gimmick. You know what that says to me? He can be a tweener. He totally can be a tweener. And what can he do as a tweener?
Fight everybody.
Logan Paul.
That's gonna really.
We haven't got yet.
That is really gonna piss off the Revolution on Twitter, which is literally, like, if you're not familiar, it's a fan account that's all centered around LA Knight. And listen, I love LA Knight as much as the next guy, but AJ Styles and Logan Paul could have a really killer match, I think. So
they could, and I'm not saying that's immediately what they do. That could be a SummerSlam match. You could do Knight and Paul. It's gonna be interesting. But I thought about that. I'm like, it was very weird to me that AJ Styles turned heel right after turning babyface, and it's like, well, fuck it. When's the last time we've had a really strong tweener? I think Styles could do that. I think he could easily flip-flop
Might as well.
between face and heel and keep it consistent. Because what happens? What happens if AJ Styles shows up on SmackDown? He's all upset that he didn't win the title, and Logan Paul gets in his face. What's AJ gonna do? Is he going to be like, oh, come here, Logan, buddy? No, he's going to slap him right across the face, and he's going to have an issue with Logan now. So it's very easy to just get AJ Styles locked into a feud with another face or another heel.
Yeah. Well, hopefully AJ Styles has some more substance on his way. I hope Cody Rhodes has some more substance on his way with whatever the next title defense may be. But this match was excellent. It's going to be a contender for match of the year, I think. 4 3/4 stars is nothing to slouch at all. Backlash 2024, I thought, was an excellent show from beginning to end. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10, which is what I rated Dynasty. And I feel like a big reason why that is also because of the crowd environment. And it didn't really feel like there was one weak link on this card. You didn't have your hook Chris Jericho to hold this show back. So 8.5 is what I'm going with.
I'm going to give it an 8.25 out of 10. This was a very solid show from start to finish. This was a really fun morning for us of wrestling. France really brought it. I thought that was fantastic. It is really nice to know that we are in an era where a WWE pay-per-view is coming up, and I don't have to worry about it sucking.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's going to be
bad WWE pay-per-view.
Fuck. I mean, I'd have to probably go all the way back to... I mean, I would even say that Vince's last pay-per-views weren't even really that bad. Elimination Chamber 2022 and Royal Rumble 2022. Those were the shits. Like
those were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because
So
you even look back at last year, look at like Payback and Fastlane. Were those the greatest shows ever? No, but they were still very
they
solid.
were great. They were great
Yeah.
shows. I loved those. And that Fastlane was main evented by a last man standing match, which you guys all know I fucking
Which
despise.
was good.
It was a great
good
last man
match.
standing match. Yeah, no, for what they got, yeah. So I think we're in good hands regardless of where Triple H wants to take us next. I'm just ready for the journey. If you guys are ready for this journey, and if you guys want to discuss all great things in the wrestling world, this is where you got to do it. Subscribe today, hit that thumbs up as well. King of the Ring coming up, King and Queen of the Ring, rather. I'm sorry, I got to call it by the correct name, or else Tomas is going to come after me. You have Survivor
Don't
Series.
leave the women out.
You have Survivor Series 2005 coming up in our retro. We're going to probably knock that out on Monday, per our discussions earlier.
Armageddon 05 as the way, because, we need to make up for the fact that we missed April with our retros, or did we? I think we did.
Yeah. Oh, for
We
sure.
did. So we need to catch up on that. AEW Double or Nothing is coming up next month. Tony Khan, get that fucking streaming service. I'm going to say that every time. I have to pay $50 for one of your goddamn shows.
That is
King and Queen of the Ring. And
that's a crazy weekend. Same Memorial Day weekend as last year, where you have the Saudi show on Saturday and then AEW on Sunday. So it's going to be jam-packed. It's going to be
jam-packed.
jam-packed.
Wrestling fan, and like we said, the big announcement of WrestleMania 41 going to be in Vegas. So it's time to start getting ready. I know it's less than a year out, but that's going to go by really fast. We're going to and it's going to be September before we know it.
This is going to be a hectic year for yours truly in terms of saving up, not just for the Vegas trip, but I'm moving in with my girlfriend this year at some point soon. I'm hoping, but hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up as well. That would be awesome. Thanks guys for tuning in. Hope to see you guys in Vegas next year. That would be a lot of fun. And stay tuned.